the most exciting, the best thing you can do on a call weekend is call up a family and say, I need you to bring your child in because I think we have a kidney for your child. Like that is, there's nothing like that. It's equally exciting each time, even though we try to be very tempered about it, and I'm always very careful because you don't know until the actual moment that they're anastomosing the kidney, but that is the most exciting.
2 weekends ago I was on call and we had a patient show up literally off a plane from Africa with terrible body swelling and kidney disease, and we had to figure out, why did this happen, and there was a language barrier and a cultural barrier, and the patient had been partially treated with things we didn't know what they were, and so it was just fascinating to sort of solve that puzzle and work through it.
To watch a child and a family start to go down a scary road, and then to come in the next morning and see a big smile on their faces is really rewarding.
Kids bring me their prom pictures after they've gone, and I'm so proud of them. I'm as proud of them as I imagine I would be of my own kids. So I have a patient who I went to his middle school science class recently, and he wanted to talk about his kidney transplant, and I was nearly in tears watching him talk to his class. I was so proud of him doing that. So, yeah.
One of my very first patients that sort of fell onto my panel after I finished my training was I think he was 3 weeks old baby who was born with congenital abnormality of his kidney and urinary tract. And I met the family and got to know them and took care of him while he had chronic kidney disease. And then he needed dialysis, and I was with them through all of that. And there were, many complications along the way. And it's just sort of seeing that progression all the way through to his transplant, which was done about a year ago, and seeing the changes that he's gone through, and my relationship with the family and watching him grow it's been pretty rewarding. So he's, one of my favorites.
One of the joys for me is that we have a dialysis camp that I go up to, and sometimes it's not necessarily that patient recovered so much, but seeing them grow as a person is really awe-inspiring. So I have one family who had been through a lot. They, not only did the child have very bad nephrotic syndrome, but they also had a lot of social issues where their family was living in a shelter. And that boy eventually needed dialysis and ultimately got a transplant. And I got to be there when he was at camp, and he had just become a teenager, and seeing the way he was developing friends and interests in girls, and also, honestly, though, a sort of a good sense of himself. He started composing poetry. I mean, it was just so great to see him be independent. So that there's a highlight there for me, is just seeing that growth for him, and from a child into a adolescent heading towards an adult.
Ultimately, she had a kidney transplant from her dad and has done remarkably well. And it's very nice to hear her family say, there were dark days, we didn't know what we should do, but we sort of worked together with you and we trusted you, and at the end of the day she did beautifully. And I have to say, she's 13 now. She has grown. She just came to our kidney camp that we do every April last weekend, and she's a normal 14-year-old girl who, to look at her, you would have no idea what she's been through. And that is really, that's really wonderful. It's a privilege to be able to see that.